Greetings, family. My name is Arlene, and I teach people how to create harmonious relationships as well as speaking their personal truth. So, if that sounds like you, please go ahead, like, and subscribe, and so that you can get more content. So, tonight I would like to talk about how your decisions can create chaos in your relationships. So last week I talked about a friend of mine who had gotten into a relationship after avoiding getting into a relationship for close to 13 years. However, what I came to later understand from him, and just so you know, if there are those of you who are out there who are wondering, I'd already shared with him that I was going to talk about this experience that he's having. But within those 13 years, he had been having off and on relations with her. And what I will say is that when you are intimate with a person, especially when you're sexually intimate with them, that brings about this energy and a closeness that that happens more on an energetic level than you may realize. There are these invisible connections called nadies, and a lot of times, the longer you've been involved with someone, those nadies allow you guys to draw closer and closer to one another. And in actuality, when you go your separate ways, those connections do not discontinue simply because the relationship ends. Sometimes that's why it takes some time for you to part. And the energy between the two people takes about an average of about 5 years for that energy to dissipate. But that aside, the thing is that he had shared a number of years ago when I met him 13 years ago when his son was born, that the relationship from his perspective was a one night stand. And, there was some things that went on in terms of her having to prove to him that their son was his son. And so after he'd gone through that process of proving it, he stepped up and he started taking care of his son. But one of the errors that I would say that my friend made was that he continued to have relations with her even after he understood the nature of her character. So the nature of her character was such that she has been extremely argumentative, and also in this place of trying to manipulate him into joining her religion. And, you know, I've already spoken on that, has spoken on the fact that she did these things. But from his perspective, the thing is that when you recognize the nature of a person, if you know that energy is not compatible for you, this idea of there not being any type of consequence to you having relations with that person is really a misnomer. There is, on an energetic level, this connection that you are repeatedly doing. And so the thing is that when she went to talk about being married to him, he was already getting the cookie. It's not the smartest decision that he has ever made, let me tell you. But I can understand why it was that she had continuously made this request for that period of time. But the thing is that with him understanding the nature of her character, knowing that she was argumentative, when he allowed himself to be convinced to marry her, and then after being in relationship with her, that what has happened essentially is that he the things that he wasn't attracted to her in the beginning, it ended up getting amplified. And that's one thing that I don't think that people may understand, and it wasn't a lesson that I understood until my first marriage, but that the things that you like about a person, they get amplified 10 to 20 times over. The things that you do like about them, they get amplified 10 to 20 times over. And the thing is that the amplification of the argumentativeness of their relationship, it just and also the lack of being able to communicate with each other in a sort of a calm and harmonious way has affected him to such a degree that when I listened to him talk, I could actually hear the shrillness of the the fights that they have because the nature of his conversation changed. So the thing is that when you are engaged with a person in that way, when not only when you're physically intimate with them, but you marry the person, it deepens the commitment. And to be married to a person that you don't necessarily like liking a person should be a fundamental necessity for a relationship to work well, that at least there is something about that individual that allows you to be in a place of maintaining that relationship, that allows for that openness, for there to be a commitment to kindness in a relationship. And when you are getting into relationship for and not necessarily having a deep affinity for a person, it leaves you open to the possibility of being abused, the possibility of the relationship becoming abusive, because there's just more than just you and the other person. There's you, the other person, and then there's the Godhead, because every relationship on some level has a part of this creative force, the divine force that permeates everything. And what are you creating? What the two of you are actually creating in your relationship when you both of you are coming together and you're having these arguments, you create this energy of chaos. Now, this is really the first time that I've talked about this, but as I've given it some more thought, and I felt that it was really important to share with people the really non-physical consequence to making a decision like this, when you know, and also understanding that you have the possibility of creating more chaos when there isn't a deep affinity there, that there isn't a place for you to be in a place of healing if people are not willing to do the work in order to make it better. And that was also something that he had brought up too, that this particular decision, again, wasn't the smartest decision that he had ever made, but understanding a person's character and knowing what they are like and knowing that you don't like it, and then going ahead and deepening your connection by marrying that person will amplify what it is that you already know. Anyway, be mindful of the people that you decide to connect with on that level, whether or not you decide to be in relationship and to marry them. Be observant. Do you like them? Do you Do you see that you can communicate with them on a level that would allow you to have an exchange? Uh, are you even spiritually compatible? Because again, it's not just you, it's you, the other person, and the Godhead of the relationship. Anyway, that is it for this evening. Um, please go ahead, like, subscribe, and share this video if you feel that that it is worth sharing. And may peace and power be with you wherever you go. Blessings, family.